April Fools! Yeah, I'm like a month late, but here are some nice planes we saw at the depot on April 1st. Anyways, while we're at the depot, nothing interesting happened. This was an improvised trip. I didn't go out to catch something special. But, hey, at least the shots were good. As you can see, the cinematography so far is going swell. Anyways, the first train was a Norfolk Southern oil train with a GEVO leader and fresh AC-44 in second. This just reminded me how much I love Norfolk Southern's paint scheme. Also, Depot Burb returned. The second train was, as you literally know, I just told you, wasn't very interesting. 2 AC-44s and an ace. I feel like I'm seeing NS aces way less now. Do they, store some of them or something? Or did I just get lucky and see a lot of them before? I don't know. The third train was a Norfolk Southern intermodal with a GEVO leading and 2 AC-44s in the middle. The GEVO was one of the cursed ones with the weird number on the side, and the second AC-44 in the DPU lash-up is one of the fresh ones with the brand new paint. So, boring locomotives, but the most interesting form of the boring locomotives. That's really weird. This train was just weird. Also, I tried out a new filming technique, which you probably can't even notice. I just put my camera slightly closer to the track. Look, I need something interesting to say for these lame trains, okay? On April 6th, we went to Jerry's Trains because my brother was out of town, and on the way back, we stopped at the depot for a little bit. As typical, the minute I got there, a train showed up. And then this happened. Fortunately, I did save the shot, but that didn't really matter because it was just two boring AC-44s. The next train was actually interesting for once. A BNSF intermodal with an H2-9 leading and H1-9 in second. Classic lash-up. Geez, I can't even tell you the last time I saw a BNSF lash-up without a GEVO in it. Because it's never happened! Until now. While waiting for the third train, which never came, I took a look at the surroundings, starting with this weird tower/work building, and of course the courthouse, which is the main thing people think of when they think of LaPorte. As I'm sure everybody on the planet knows at this point, on April 8th, there was a total solar eclipse. No one's going to get that reference. Anyways, there was an eclipse, and given the fact this wouldn't happen again, ever, at the depot, I decided to go to the depot to film some trains during the eclipse. Because, come on, catching a train in totality would be super awesome. Now, I did know we were only going to get 96% totality in LaPorte, but I figured it's 96%. It's gotta get dark at least a little bit. Since I was going with my dad, I had access to his phone and actually decent zoom lens for once, so these shots are going to look a lot better than normal. The first train was B09, the steel local freight, with its typical pair of Dash 9s. These are not the two normal Dash 9s that pull this train, but then again I feel like NS swaps them out every 2 seconds.
Yeah, the sun is turned into some sort of an oval shape. It looks more crescent on the solar eclipse glasses.
The second train was a Norfolk Southern grain train, led by a Dash 9 and trailed by 2 AC-44s. Now, when I saw the Dash 9 leading, I thought, oh, that's awesome, a Dash 9 leader, I need to pen on that right now. Little did I know, the second AC-44 happened to be a CSX-1, something that is incredibly rare at the depot, and I've only missed 2 separate times. Yeah, I'm slightly mad about this. But anyways, hey, at least I got a good shot of the Dash 9 leader.
Oh, it's very noticeable now. We're about halfway now.
Then the signal turned green for the third train. With the zoom lens, I looked down the track and saw the headlights behind the 2 crossing gates. The first one started dinging, alerting everyone else that the train was coming. As it got closer, I realized, hey, wait a minute, that's not black. So it can't be Norfolk Southern, which made me quite excited because, foreign power is rarer than not foreign power. But as it got closer, I saw the red and thought for a second it might be a war bonnet. Since it's a grain train, and most of the BNSF trains that come through the depot are grain trains, and since I knew there were a few war bonnets in the area at the time, I assumed it was probably that. As it got even closer, though, it started to turn a little bit orangish looking. Doesn't show up on camera, but it did in person, and I thought it might have been a BNSF normal locomotive. But then it got even closer, and I noticed the CP on the front. Even better. It got even closer, and I realized there were 6 whole engines on the thing, all of which were CP. Since the CP-KC merger has just happened, every single one of these locomotives is a 50% coin flip for it to be CP, and this lash-up happened to be pure red. Sucks there was a GEVO in last, though, or otherwise this could have been an all AC-44 lash-up, and I wouldn't have seen a single GEVO on this trip. The final train of the day had passed, and I waited for the eclipse. They even turned on the little lights on the control points. And this was as dark as it got. Yeah, I definitely should have gone south to be in complete totality, but I didn't really have time to because I had school that day. The only thing I managed to accomplish was this cool time lapse of the sun coming out from behind the moon at the end of the eclipse. Yay! On April 13th, I went to Purdue's Bug Bowl in Lafayette, and on my way back, we stumbled across a high hood. This is a Chesapeake and Indiana locomotive, and funnily enough, their scheme is literally just the old Southern tuxedo scheme, but with C&I lettering, which is very nice, actually. I get to see this locomotive how it was intended to look. Anyways, C&I is a small short line in the area. They're the third small line that you rarely ever get to see, which happens to meet up at Wellsboro. I still can't believe Wellsboro even exists. A crossing between three railroads? That's ridiculous. But getting back on track, it was really nice to see this locomotive. I love high hoods, and I had never seen one in person up until this point. Hopefully I can catch one actually operating soon. On April 14th, we were up at the depot again, and as we were pulling in, we missed the locomotive power on this train. I'm pretty sure it was a GEVO and an ACE, but I'm not 100% sure. Could be misremembering. Hopping over to the other side, I finally got to properly catch an eastbound now that I'm on this side of the depot and, I can use the crossing to my advantage. I went on this side to avoid the shots being backlit, which I didn't even know backlighting was a thing until recently, so thanks to BNSF 1458 for pointing that out to me. Anyways, the train that we saw was really boring, ACE leader and AC44 in second. Depot Burb's long-lost cousin, Overpass Burb. Look at him up there. Just chilling. Overpass Burb. The second and final train was also eastbound. Remember that BNSF train without GEVOs we literally just saw? Well, here's another one. 2 H2-9s on this one. This was a grocery trip with a depot side trip, and while we were getting back into the parking lot to load up our groceries, a train rolled through with 2 NSAC 44s. Of course, the shot's terrible for obvious reasons, but hey, there was a fresh leader. Looks quite nice even from this distance. The next day, on April 15th, my aunt stumbled across two South Shore SD38-2s leading a local at a crossing. On April 21st, we headed to the depot for what I thought was going to be a long slog of a trip. I was tracking a special unit, and most of the times when I do, it's 2 or 3 or even 7 or so trains before the special unit I want arrived. On this trip, though, luck was on my side, and the very first train we caught, and also the last, because, it had the special unit on it, was a Norfolk Southern Intermodal with a normal AC-44 liter and one of the ex-CMQ AC-44s they bought from CEFX. They only have 2 of these, so this is quite a rare sight. Normally, I wouldn't have gone out to see it since it was trailing, but they don't have PTC, so they kind of can't lead. So I have to settle for trailing. On April 25th, we needed to get haircut, so we headed uptown. We had a few minutes to burn, so it was off to the depot. Unfortunately, we didn't catch any trains properly. As we were pulling in, this Norfolk Southern Intermodal with an AC-44 liter and SD70M-2 trailing jump scared us. And on our way out, we saw this Ace and Dash 9 on the all-gondola train. On April 28th, UP 8422, this cursed monstrosity Ace with a primer long hood, rolled through Elkhart. I was tracking NS8103, the NNW unit, and definitely didn't expect to see this unit. I threw all NNW plans out the window once it showed up and headed to the depot to... Oh. As seems to be a theme in this episode, my tripod fell over before the first train arrived, which was a GEVO and AC-44. Oh, and while we were filming that train, we got surprised by an eastbound with a single GEVO, so sorry the shot's blurry. There was also this cool Burlington Northern auto rack in the consist. As the next train approached, I did see a UP engine. Unfortunately, it wasn't the 8422. It was just a normal UP GEVO, and in second behind that was a Norfolk Southern Dash 9. Not related to this unit at all, but I haven't seen a UP engine at the depot since December 23rd. And you know, I have started to warm up to UP's new paint scheme. I honestly think it's an improvement over this one. And I know basically every rail fan is going to hate me for that, but that's my opinion, so yeah. There were no trains for a solid hour after that, and when there finally was, it was this eastbound Norfolk Southern Intermodal that surprised us. There was a Dash 9 leading, GEVO in second, and WFRX SD70 Mac Leaster unit in third. Didn't have time to set up my camera equipment properly for this shot, so I guess you get to see some more panning. After even more waiting, since it was really late into the day, about 1 o'clock now, and we were super hungry, we headed off to DQ to get lunch. On our way back, we decided to check the signals for 8422, and they were green. We quickly set up again, and when the train showed up, it unfortunately wasn't the one we were looking for. It was a boring Norfolk Southern Intermodal with 2 AC-44s. But what happened next made up for that and missing 8422 and became the highlight of the month. A horn salute. Now that the depot is a quiet zone, I never thought I'd hear one here again. But I was wrong. Massive props to the crew of this train for breaking the law to give me this nice horn salute. But, yeah, that was the entire month of April. Hope you enjoyed, and make sure to come back next time for some more railfanning content. Honestly, this month was kinda bad. The shots weren't the greatest, the lighting was pretty crap in a lot of them, and the catches weren't too good. But just you wait, oh just you wait, next month is gonna be ridiculous. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and come back next time for another documentary just like this one.